Hi there Booktube, it's Eleanor here, and today it's time for my Friday reads. So before we get into the books that I've read this week and the books that I'm currently reading, my Booktuber shout out for this week is Louise from the Big Haired Bookworm. Louise has subscribed to my channel and commented on my videos a lot, and for some reason I didn't realise that she had a channel, and I think she may have mentioned it before, and then I tried to find it and I couldn't find it, and anyway, long story short, I found a link to her channel through someone else's channel this week, and I have been binge watching her videos. I'm really enjoying watching her content. I'm loving hearing about the books she's reading. She's a UK booktuber, which I always really like to find more UK booktubers, because there's not as many of us as there are especially US booktubers, so it's quite nice to find a fellow Brit, and I've just really been enjoying watching her videos. She's got some really interesting books she reads. She reads quite a few thrillers and mysteries, which I've been getting a little bit more into, so I've really been enjoying watching those as well. So I will link her details down below, and that's Louise from the Big Haired Bookworm. Go and check her out and show her some booktubey love. So I read 3 books this week, and I've really been enjoying my reading. I've really been getting into it. So the first book that I read was Eleanor Park by Rainbow Rowell. I read this, it was going to be a buddy read with Jenny from Jenny King, but I think she's been having loads of stuff going on at the moment, so I ended up just whizzing through this one on my own, and I've been putting this one off, and I don't know why. I loved Fangirl. I really enjoyed Carry On. I wasn't so keen on Attachments, and I think that's all of Rainbow Rowell's books that I've read, and this was sort of the last one that I wanted to read. I'd been putting it off because I'd been hearing mixed things, and I was really surprised by this book. It wasn't at all what I was expecting. I think I was expecting some sort of quirky romance, very sort of sweet and kitschy, and you know, two sort of kindred spirits meeting, and it is that in part, but there's so much more depth to it than that. I found this book quite heartbreaking. I did cry during this book, and I haven't cried a real ugly cry since Paper Butterflies by Lisa Heathfield, and although it wasn't quite as emotional as that, I did really cry in this book, and it was, I know this sounds really weird, but it was a good cry. It was the book just tapped into my emotions and it made me feel things, and I think for me that's a sign of a really good book. It's the story of a boy and a girl and first love, but as I say, it's much more than that. Park is a 16-year-old boy. He's making his way through high school. He's not popular, he's not unpopular, he's just your average kid making his way through high school, you know, just until he can get out and get off to college. He's got a regular home life, a mum, a dad, a brother. They live right next to their grandparents. He's got a pretty average home life as well. And then Eleanor turns up on his school bus. She doesn't fit in, she's very strange looking, she has unusual clothes, and she's got this massive red hair, and she has a very different home life to Park. I was angry at this book, and I felt despairing. I felt a massive array of feelings. It just really tapped into everything for me. And what I really enjoyed as well is it's written from both Eleanor and Park's perspectives, but often with a dual perspective book we get sort of a chapter from one, a chapter from another, but at times this can skip between the two of them from paragraph to paragraph, as you can see here, and I found that very effective because it really moved the story forward, and it pulled us through, and we were following the same scene but flitting between the two's thoughts, and I just really enjoyed that. I thought it really worked. I think this is probably my new favourite Rainbow Rowell book. I know, a lot of people have mixed opinions, but this I think is my new favourite, and I gave this one 5 stars. The next book I picked up was The Elizabeth Papers by Janetta James. I was very kindly sent this book by the author, and I'm so pleased that she agreed to send it to me. Obviously all thoughts and feelings on the book are my own as always, and I really enjoyed this. So what Janetta's done with this is she's taken the world of Jane Austen and she's imagined what it would have been like after, I don't want to spoil it. What if someone hasn't read Pride and Prejudice? Okay, so she's taken what happens at the end of Pride and Prejudice with Elizabeth and Darcy, and she's moved forward with that. I hope that doesn't spoil anything for anybody. So not only has she moved forward with that, and we are seeing that part in diary form written by Elizabeth, but also we're set in the modern day, where there is a modern day mystery around inheritance. There's been an inheritance set up so that each of the descendants of the Darcys has all of the female descendants of the Darcys receive a trust fund. When they turn 18, they come into a trust fund, and there is one of the descendants in the modern day who believes that one of the children was illegitimate, and therefore some of the modern day people are getting money when they shouldn't be, and so she hires a private detective to uncover the truth. And that is how the story goes. We're following the story through Elizabeth's diaries, but we're also following the story in the modern day with the detective and him trying to discover the truth. And I just really loved this. The dual timelines moved the story along really well. The writing was really good. It was great to get back into that story of Pride and Prejudice. The only thing that I wish there had been a bit more is that the mystery that unravelled at the end was quite obvious what it was going to be, and I wish they'd kept the mystery going a little bit longer. But other than that, I really enjoyed this. I definitely recommend it, and I gave this one 4 stars. And then the final book that I want to talk about from this week is Cherry by Lindsay Rosen. I was asked if I would take part in the blog tour for this, but unfortunately I was on holiday. But the publisher very kindly said they would send me the book anyway, and so full disclosure, I received this book for free, but all thoughts and feelings are my own. What I really enjoyed about this book is that it's refreshingly honest about sex, and it didn't romanticise it, which I really enjoyed. We're following 4 girls. They are best of friends, and it's their final year of school. They're in the final term before they graduate. They've decided to come up with a pact that all 4 of them will lose their virginity before graduation, which in itself sounds like a bit of a silly plan, but it's something that sort of makes sense when you get to know their group. This was fun and light and predictable, but it was also honest, and we even get the words penis and vagina and orgasm and masturbation in here, which is something that you don't see very often in YA books. I loved that they used the right words for things. They didn't call them willy winkies, or they didn't call them funny things. They called them exactly what they were, and they were very honest about things like masturbation and how sex is for the first time. It's not all wonderful, roses and champagne and twinkly lights and music and fireworks. It can be messy and weird and uncomfortable and strange, and it doesn't shy away from talking about those things, which I thought was really great. I sped through this. It was like having your favourite dessert. I just couldn't put it down. It was a gobble it up book, and I really enjoyed it. There were some really good diverse characters in this as well, and there's an LGBTQIA storyline which I thought was really effective and worked really well and fit into the story really nicely. And yeah, it was just all round a really fun, good, light read with, as I say, some refreshingly honest takes on first time having sex. So I gave this one 4 stars, and I definitely recommend it. So that's some of the books that I've read this week. I read a couple of others, but I'll be doing individual reviews for them. One of them's already gone up, and that was Tall Oaks by Chris Whitaker. If you haven't seen that, that is my favourite at the moment mystery or thriller I've read this year. It's a really great book. I definitely recommend it. So check out that review if you want to know more about that. But other than that, I'm just plodding along with various different books. I'm currently listening to an audio Caitlin Moran's Moranifesto, which I got from Audible, which I'm really enjoying. I'm also listening to Foxlow, which I'm really enjoying, and I'm reading The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware, so I shall wrap up about that in my next week's video. Anyway, go and check out Louise from the Big Head Bookworm. I think you'll like her content, and subscribe if you like what you see. And as always, let's chat in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now, Booktube.